Good evening. I'm Shreya Dhondial. As always, it is good to see you. The battle for Uttar Pradesh turned into a full-fledged family drama today as Mulayam Singh Yadav's Choti Bahu walked into the BJP headquarters in Delhi and joined the party. It wasn't a complete shock to the Samajwadi Party, of course. It is well known that Aparna, wife of Akhilesh's step-brother, has political ambitions. It is equally well known that the two brothers and their wives don't exactly get along. Akhilesh was reluctant to give her a role or a post in the party, so Aparna, who like Yogi Adityanath is a Thakur from Garhwal, walked off to greener pastures. For the BJP, this was a counter-attack to the SP poaching some of its most prominent OBC faces. But beyond causing embarrassment to the Samajwadi Party, what does Aparna Yadav bring to the BJP? More importantly, does her move to the BJP have the blessings of patriarch Mulayam Singh Yadav? That is your debrief this evening. Let's start with Aparna's exit and Akhilesh Yadav shrugging it off as a minor development.
आदरणीय मुलायम सिंह यादव जी की पुत्रवधू अपर्णा यादव जी आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी में शामिल हो रही हैं।
It's an upset Bahu who seems to have taken the family feud a bit too far. Aparna Yadav, from the first family of Samajwad in India, deciding to switch camps from red to saffron.
ये अपर्णा यादव का बहुत बड़ा फैसला था कि मुझे राष्ट्र धर्म से सर्वोपरि और कुछ नहीं लगा, इसीलिए राष्ट्र धर्म का निर्वाह करते हुए मैंने सोचा कि मुझे आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की जो नीतियां हैं उनसे प्रभावित होकर के मैं भाजपा ज्वाइन करूं।
Aparna's arrival was greeted by a gleeful BJP that was only too keen to highlight her famous family connections.
श्रीमती अपर्णा यादव जी भारतीय जनता पार्टी परिवार का हिस्सा बनी हैं। मैं सबसे पहले भारतीय जनता पार्टी परिवार में आपका स्वागत करता हूं।
नेता मुलायम सिंह जी की बहू अपर्णा यादव आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी में शामिल हो रही हैं। मैं हृदय से स्वागत करता हूं।
For a party that recently lost a plethora of its leaders in the form of defections to the SP, the BJP was keen to turn in the screws further into Akhilesh.
उत्तर प्रदेश के पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री और समाजवादी पार्टी के वर्तमान अध्यक्ष श्री अखिलेश यादव जी अपने परिवार में ही सफल नहीं हैं और प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री के रूप में भी असफल रहे हैं।
For now, Akhilesh Yadav is putting up a brave face, despite the family betrayal, even trying to put his own spin onto it.
सबसे पहले तो मैं बधाई दूंगा और शुभकामनाएं, और साथ ही साथ हमें खुशी इस बात की है कि समाजवादी विचारधारा का विस्तार हो रहा है।
Aparna too has promised to strike a balance between Parivar and party, at least for now.
परिवार से मैं कोई विमुख नहीं हूँ। मैंने मेरे बड़ों का सबका मेरे ऊपर बहुत आशीर्वाद है। एज अ बहू मैं हमेशा से अपने परिवार के गरिमा और जो भी उसके नियम हैं वो निर्वाह करती रहूंगी।
But there is no masking Aparna's political ambitions. As Yadav Bahu, she tried to make her election foray in 2017, losing from Lucknow cantonment. 5 years later, will she stake claim again from a BJP bastion?
जैसा पार्टी सुनिश्चित करेगी वैसा करूंगी। मैंने कैंट में बहुत काम किया है, बाकी पार्टी जो भी निर्णय करेगी।
However, it might not be a cakewalk for Aparna and a new political party, because the BJP leader who defeated her in 2017 now eyes the ticket again for her son and is ready to rebel if denied.
मेरे पुत्र ने अप्लाई किया है, हर एक को हक है, अकेले उन्होंने तो नहीं मांगा है। मेरे ख्याल से 8-10 लोगों ने टिकट मांगा है। अब पार्टी को तय करने दीजिए, लेकिन जब ये अड़चन आई कि एक परिवार से एक ही होगा, तो रीता बहुगुणा जोशी उनके मार्ग की बाधा बन गई। तो मैंने ये पत्र एक लिखा है विनम्रता से राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जी को कि यदि ये अड़चन है तो मैं तो पहले ही घोषणा कर चुकी हूँ कि मैं 2024 में चुनावी राजनीति से संन्यास लूंगी।
The battle for UP is rapidly being reduced to a game of musical chairs. Ritanshu Bhattacharya for CNN News 18.
The Yadavs are a political family that don't always get along. Thankfully for Mulayam Singh Yadav, though, he didn't have to choose between his sons because Prateek, his son from his second wife, was never keen on politics. In Lucknow, he is known more for his love for luxury cars and his state-of-the-art gyms. But Aparna, the daughter of a journalist, has for the last 6 years made attempts to stake claim to her husband's political legacy. She did get a party ticket in 2017, but things didn't go according to plan. Here's a brief profile of Aparna Yadav, the Choti Bahu, who has done a badi bagawat against the Samajwadi Party. Aparna Yadav, who has the BJP dancing with joy, is the Choti Bahu of the Yadav Parivar. 32-year-old Aparna studied at Loreto Convent in Lucknow. It is in Lucknow that she met Prateek and they became friends. She's known to have an interest in classical music and dance and is a social activist working for women's issues. After college, Aparna, who is the daughter of a journalist, left for England and got her master's degree in international relations from Manchester University. In 2011, Aparna married Prateek, who is the younger son of Mulayam Singh Yadav, in a big fat wedding in Mulayam's family village Sefai. This was a star-studded affair. Prateek and Aparna have 2 children. While Prateek stayed away from politics and pursued his business interests, Aparna had clear political ambitions. In 2017, she enters the electoral politics of Uttar Pradesh and is fielded as a Samajwadi Party candidate from Lucknow Cant. It's a seat she loses to the BJP's Rita Bahuguna Joshi by over 33,000 votes. Sister-in-law Dimple Yadav had campaigned for Aparna, sending the message that all was well in the family. But after the defeat, the differences were out in the open. Aparna and her mother-in-law Sadhna believed that she was deliberately given an unsafe seat, which is Lucknow Cant. Their grouse was that Dimple was given a safe Lok Sabha seat in Kannauj, but Aparna was fielded from a BJP bastion. As if to send a message to her family, Aparna invited the new UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath to visit a cow shelter run by an NGO which she and her husband Prateek support. Interestingly, Aparna and Yogi Adityanath share the same surname, Bisht. They both come from the hill state of Uttarakhand. Aparna has often praised both Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Yogi Adityanath, at one point even clicking selfies with the Prime Minister. Lucknow circles say Akhilesh had offered Aparna an MLC seat post the elections, but she didn't want to wait. The buzz is that Aparna jumping ship could not have materialized without the blessings of her father-in-law Mulayam Singh Yadav, something that of course can never be ascertained. But as they say in Uttar Pradesh, keep your family close, but your foes within your family even closer. With NC Satpathy, in New Delhi, I'm Shreya Dhondial. I'm going straight across to my guests who are joining me this evening on Debrief. 2 people who understand Uttar Pradesh's politics very well. Ajit K. Jha is joining us, so is Ambika Sahai. Ajit Jha, I'm starting with you first. Many people in Lucknow will say, ye to hona hi tha. Aparna had political ambitions, one that the Samajwadi Party under Akhilesh simply didn't want to accommodate.
I think I agree with you. It's like a tit for tat situation by the BJP. You take my 11 MLAs and 2 ministers. I put a direct say inside your family. So I think the BJP has kind of shown that that they have been able to make a dent within the family of Akhilesh Yadav. So, and it was expected in some ways because, as you rightly pointed out yourself earlier, Aparna has always maintained relationship with both Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and with the Prime Minister. Right from the beginning, the time when Yogi won, right from that time, as you pointed out, that cowshed that she had, she brought Yogi there. Then she has made statements in between So she was always the disgruntled, daughter-in-law, the angry Choti Bahu. And this was quite expected. In fact, as you pointed out, when she had lost the seat to Rita Bahuguna Joshi from Lucknow Cant, right after that, all the skeletons in the cupboard had emerged on surface. So this was very much expected. Now, what comes back as the central weakness of Akhilesh Yadav is his family.
Correct.
Back in 2017, Akhilesh was up in arms with his uncle, and that has become an open source of embarrassment. This time the BJP has played the same game and made his family look like, a center of controversy.
Okay.
And that also brings out the weakness of family politics.
Okay.
It's almost like it's a similar situation in Bihar with Lalu Yadav's family, where the sons are fighting or the son-in-laws are fighting. It's a similar situation today in UP.
Yes, you're right
So
when you say
it's
that.
basically a tit-for-tat strategy by the BJP.
But how much damage will this do to the Samajwadi Party? Look, Ambikanan Sahai, the fact is that yes, has it grabbed headlines through the day today? Yes, it has. Has it caused embarrassment to the Samajwadi Party? Yes, it has. But beyond this embarrassment and headline grabbing, will Aparna Yadav moving to the BJP bring anything to the BJP table?
I don't think so. Shreya, BJP is too big a party. Now they inducted a lot of big names in the past also. And look what happens to them. Madhav Rao Sindhia, what is his real positioning in the party? I don't think he is important. Varun Gandhi, what is happening to him? Not important at all. Now, Aparna, I agree, is a big name thanks to her father-in-law, Mulayam Singh Yadav. She is a big name and she is a big catch politically. But only as far as psychology of the masses go. In the hurly-burly world of real politics, I don't think that is going to matter at all. She can't bring in, you talked about her caste by birth. That's a Thakur. Now, Thakurs are already solidly behind Yogi ji. So she doesn't get additional votes for the BJP. That way, in this caste conscious state. Now consider what are the losses of the Samajwadi Party by losing Aparna Yadav. I don't think they are losing much, except for the psychological disadvantage during these turbulent times. Nothing else.
So this essentially is the
Yes,
BJP's, this essentially you're saying is psyops by the BJP. That
Yes.
you take our people, we launch a psyop against you. At least for one day we have managed to harass you.
Yes, yes.
Ajit ji, come in here. I want to ask you this. Mulayam Singh Yadav is someone everyone likes. He is that politician in the old mold. In fact, you remember even on the floor of the House in Parliament in 2019, he had given Ashirwad to Prime Minister Narendra Modi to win the election despite being in the opposition. I want to ask you
Yes.
this. I want to ask you this, Ajit ji. Do you think Aparna Yadav has the blessings of Mulayam Singh Yadav when she walked into the BJP headquarters today to join the party?
It's a very difficult question to answer because what happened, Mulayam Singh Yadav ji is a charming politician, right? In the old politician mold. He's a person who would be equally nice to his friends and to his enemies. It's very difficult to figure out what he is thinking half the time. I have interviewed him in the past. He does it with a disarming charm. So it's very difficult to answer that. But let me sort of make a couple of points here. One is what Ambikanand Sahai ji pointed out. It's probably true that Aparna Yadav doesn't control enormous amount of Samajwadi Party votes, and therefore it may not make a dent into the party. But remember, politics is all about perception and narrative building. You know, the fact that when 11 MLAs left BJP, it's not as if the entire OBC vote of BJP ran away, but it created a narrative, it created a pressure on the BJP. So Aparna Yadav reminds the audience that all is not well in the family of Akhilesh Yadav, that Akhilesh Yadav's Achilles heel is his family. In 2017, we saw that Achilles heel in the form of, the two brothers and the uncle versus Akhilesh Yadav. This time we are seeing it as Aparna Yadav versus Akhilesh Yadav. If the BJP want, they can actually use Aparna Yadav to go and campaign in several seats where the Samajwadi Party might look, let's say, in a tight election. So it's all, the question of perception versus what I said, building of narrative.
Yes, politics
Aparna Yadav becomes a very good icon. Becomes a very good icon for the BJP.
And politics, you're right, is about optics.
And lastly,
politics, you're right, is about optics.
That's right.
Ambika ji, let me just get in Ambika ji here. Ambika ji, I have exactly 1 minute. I want to ask you this then. Akhilesh Yadav still gets very upset with the Aurangzeb tag that is often associated with him, and the BJP, of course, pushes that after his coup against his own father. Do you think this then goes to reinforce that image of Parivarwad, where the BJP can go out and say, ye dekho, this is a party that runs on family. इनके तो घर के झगड़े नहीं खत्म होते, ये देश कैसे चलाएंगे या state कैसे चलाएंगे? And I'm not saying this, BJP spokespersons through the day across channels have been saying this.
See, Shreya, there are two important Yadav families in the Ganga belt. Lalu Yadav and Mulayam Singh Yadav. And there is family feuds in both the families. So when people get to know news like this, I don't think they are surprised. This is considered norm. As far as her political value is concerned, just imagine a hypothetical situation. If Akhilesh Yadav fights from Gopalpur in Azamgarh district, will Aparna go and campaign there? I don't think so. Will she go there to campaign against Akhilesh Yadav? That looks exciting, but will this happen? I don't think so.
You never know.
I may be proven wrong.
Never say never.
But
Ambika Nanji, India's politics kuch bhi ho sakta hai. Never say never. So we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Ambika ji, for joining us. Always good to have you on the show. And Ajit ji, first family of the Samajwadi Party in Uttar Pradesh is not new to feuds. They have played out openly in the full glare of television cameras. Aparna Yadav joining the BJP once again, bringing home the point that for Akhilesh Yadav, his family is his Achilles heel.
अमर सिंह ने मेरे बारे में लिखवाया कि मैं औरंगजेब हूं और नेताजी शाहजहां हैं। देखिए ये झूठ है।
The Yadavs are a large clan, and like most families, they fight loudly and rather publicly. Sample this unforgettable moment from late 2016. Akhilesh Yadav, the then Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, sparring with his uncle Shivpal Yadav in the full glare of television cameras and party workers.
अमर सिंह ने मेरे बारे में लिखवाया कि मैं औरंगजेब हूं और नेताजी शाहजहां हैं। और ये आशु मलिक देखिए ये झूठ है।
The Chacha-Bhatija fight soon descended a father-son war of words. Mulayam Singh Yadav backed Amar Singh and Shivpal over Akhilesh.
हमारी पार्टी में जो थोड़ा बहुत मतभेद है, ज़्यादा नहीं है, आप भी अच्छी तरह जानते हैं। एक ही व्यक्ति है जो मतभेद करने की साजिश कर रहा है।
This was a made-for-TV power struggle that would lead to Shivpal Yadav quitting the party in 2018 and floating his own outfit. But not before some more drama. Days later, in January 2017, Akhilesh Yadav orchestrates a coup against his father, guided by his favourite uncle, Ram Gopal Yadav. On a sunny winter afternoon, he gathered 5,000 of his supporters at a party convention and dethroned his father as the party chief. It was a rocky start to Akhilesh's reign. Mulayam called the move illegal and went to the Election Commission to stake claim over his party symbol, the cycle.
मैंने कहा नेताजी आपकी पार्टी है, मैं भी पार्टी में रहूंगा, तो मेरी जिम्मेदारी दूसरी भी है। अगर मुझे लगता है कोई साजिश कर रहा है और षड्यंत्र कर रहा है, तो कम से कम मुझे खड़ा होना पड़ेगा कि हाँ, ये साजिश और षड्यंत्र कर रहा है।
This was the first time Akhilesh had staged a direct maneuver against his father. So far, he had just accused Mulayam Singh Yadav of being misguided by his enemy number one, Amar Singh, and Shivpal Yadav. The 2017 and 2019 polls were a disaster for the Samajwadi Party. Mulayam Singh Yadav only made things tougher for his son.
जब अपने बाप का कहा कि 3 महीना के लिए हमें बना दो, तो बाप को धोखा दिया है।
The taunt of doing an Aurangzeb on his father still haunts and hurts Akhilesh.
जो अपने बाप और अपने चाचा का नहीं हुआ, वो आज आपको अपने साथ जोड़ने की बात करता है।
Akhilesh Yadav and Shivpal Yadav have kissed and made up 5 years after the split. Mulayam Singh Yadav has all but retired. Akhilesh is firmly in control of the Samajwadi Party. But seems family continues to be his Achilles heel, now with his sister-in-law, Aparna Yadav, joining hands with the enemy. In New Delhi, I'm Shreya Dhondial. What is politics without some high-octane drama? And in Uttar Pradesh, it is only just beginning. With that, it's a wrap from me here on Debrief. Thanks for watching. Good night.